So what do we have today? 2008 Subaru Legacy. With a misfire. And an engine tick. What's the story with this car? So it has 164,000 miles. The owner said that, you know, it was running fine, but then the engine just started knocking. It sounded like it was dying. So he swapped in an engine from a junkyard car that was crashed. He got it at the auction just to get the engine. Put the engine in. Now he has his misfire. He said cylinder 4. Classic, replaced spark plug, ignition coil, injector. Nothing helped. So he called me up for a diagnosis. So I went over there, diagnosed in about, I don't know, 10 minutes. It's a compression problem, and it's definitely on cylinder number 4. You see, look at that roughness monitor. It's counting up like crazy. It shakes pretty bad. So you put under load, it gets smoother. If you raise the RPMs, you press the gas pedal. See the check engine light's flashing, it's not happy. So, I'm suspecting a compression problem. Did a leak down check, just a classic, put some air in the cylinder at TDC on number 4, and it was leaking out the tailpipe. It's like, are you kidding me? We have another exhaust valve problem. I don't know how many of these I'm gonna get this year. This is car number 5, maybe? Looked in with a borescope, expecting to find some burnt exhaust valves. The valves actually looked okay. So what's the other variable here? On these Subarus, late 2000s, 2.5s, they have a tendency to migrate. The exhaust valve guide migrates in the cylinder head casting so far that it prevents the exhaust valve from closing all the way. So that's my suspicion. I told the customer, best thing to do, since you have your old engine, the heads are probably still okay on it, let's just pull the head, the left, driver's side cylinder head, and swap it over. I checked it, I actually pulled it for him from his spare engine. Here it is in the trunk. So you got your intakes, your exhaust valves, they're all fully closed. And what you want to do is look through the exhaust ports. Probably won't be able to see it with this lighting, but those exhaust valve guides, you can kind of see them right there. They should be flush with the cylinder head. If they start moving out like that way, eventually the exhaust valve won't close. So it's here for the repairs. Let's pull it in the shop. I want to get a borescope in there, put the cylinder, so the exhaust valves are closed, and see if we can actually spot the problem. We'll take the exhaust manifold off, look through those ports, just to verify before we swap this head over. Let's get in the shop. Alright, here we go. Let's do some visual inspections. I got the exhaust manifold off. It drops down pretty easy. And also the valve cover. What is going on with these exhaust valves? You can see cylinder number 2, that's normal. You see white stems, it's been burning fine. Cylinder number 4, it's all black, sooty, kind of like it was running rich. But the valve guides are in the proper position. What the heck is going to explain this? Why do we have low compression on number 4? And why did we have a tick? That valve clearance is, I mean, we can measure it, but it doesn't look like something's drastically wrong. I'm just comparing it to cylinder number 2. Maybe a little bigger. In the borescope, here we have our exhaust valves. Again, no smoking guns yet. They're still round. No any chunks missing. Let's do a leak down check. I mean, we can look at the intakes. Let's see here. So I is for intake, E is for exhaust. There's the other intake. No holes in the piston. So I'm going to put this sucker at TDC on the compression stroke. Let's put some compressed air in there and see what happens. Alright, here we go. I know it's coming out the exhaust. Like hardcore. Can someone tell me why those exhaust valves are not sealing? It was the right diagnosis, but I expected something a little more obvious. The guides still look okay. Let's open up the exhaust valves and see what the seats look like. Alright, so I'm spinning the engine over. You can see that the exhaust valve should be fully open. And let's see what... You can see the smoking gun. Where is the valve seat on that valve? Am I missing something? I guess it's right there. I don't see a real good sealing surface. So regardless, the head has to come off. We proved poor sealing on the exhaust valves. Once we get the head off, we can take a closer look. What is going on with those valves? I have no idea. Why would the seats go bad? Did it burn oil on that cylinder? But they're not pitted, they're just not sealing. And you can measure the exhaust slash. Like, did a timing belt break and those valves got a little bent? I've never seen this before. Oh, progress report. Kind of hit a roadblock. Can't get the crank pulley bolt out. I tried the air impact, the mini half-inch impact. We're gonna have to go Scotty Kilmer style, put a breaker bar on the frame rail, just bump the starter. Hopefully that bolt will crack loose. I'll set up the camera, we'll see if it works. Alright, here we go. Ignition coil is disabled. I'm just gonna bump the starter. So the engine's gonna spin this way, and the breaker bar is gonna hold that bolt still, and hopefully it'll snap loose. Here we go. I think it worked. Yep, I can spin it out with my fingers now. Worked a treat. So one tip here is to retract the timing belt tensioner. Put your grenade pin in there and just lift up on the belt, and the tensioner will slowly retract, and keep pushing the pin until it goes all the way through the hole on the back side of the tensioner. There we go. I think, did it go through? Yep. So now the timing belt is loose. And we're definitely all the way through. We can take off an idler, and then basically this head can come off We just have to loosen up the intake manifold bolts, kind of tilt it up. I don't feel like undoing everything here. We're just doing one head with a fresh head gasket. So pretty straightforward. Oh yeah, don't forget the EGR pipe on the back here that connects the head to the intake manifold. Alright, back to the Subaru. Let's get the cylinder head off. So 6 bolts. The one that's a little bit tricky to get to is the one in the lower corner here. No, it's not bad. Do that. Let's pop it off and see what's wrong with those exhaust valves. Alright, so problem is now fairly obvious once we look at these open exhaust valves. What do you see? I see they're not quite in the same plane, like this one's tilted further back. If you put a piece of wood that's cut mostly flat here, across them, you'll see the gap on the left one. If I put it flat on this side, see that gap right there? That valve is tilted. So if we spin the cam over, that would explain our ticking sound too. Now they should both be closed. A cool test you can do is just spray some WD-40 here, blow some compressed air, and see where the leak is. All right, here we go. Let's soak these with WD-40. Blow a little compressed air in here. They're not sealing. Do the same with this side. I'm sure this will be a perfect seal here. Well, I guess not perfect, but look at that. This one's really bad. This one's not as bad. So this is the one that's tweaked. That's very interesting. Why is that? Let me turn that cam back. Did a timing belt break on this thing? And the valve must be slightly bent. Alright, here's the original cylinder head. No leaks there. Almost no leaks there. That's okay. That's okay. I mean, you might as well check the intakes before you slap it back on. I'm sure everything's fine. Make sure the cam is free to spin. So if we blow air over here, oh, that one's a little leaky. That one's tight. So I got the head surface cleaned off. You always want to make sure that the head is mostly straight with a straight edge, especially on Subarus. You don't want to see any daylight that might be a little warped there. Let's compare this one. They're probably all warped. It's a Subaru thing. Yeah, it's about the same. We'll slap it on there. Tighten these head bolts down. OEM spec is like 45 degrees tighter than the outer ones, so I think it'll seal up. So let's check the valve clearances on the bench or on the floor while the head is off on the replacement head. So intake is going to be about 8 thousandths of an inch, exhaust 10 thousandths of an inch. Alright, so let's do the exhaust first. Make sure the cam is in a position where there's maximum lash. There's a 10 thousandths feeler gauge. Yep, nice light drag on that one. And when you have the feeler gauge in there, you want to have no lash at all. And this is the tight end of the spec, so that one also feels good. Perfect. Okay, and then the intake, I want to go to 8 thousandths of an inch. Rotate the cam the other way. Now this is the variable valve lift system, so we got 2 separate rocker arms for each cylinder. Yep, nice light drag there. Good enough for me. Perfect. And perfect. So this head is ready to install on the car. Alright, so here's the bolt tightening sequence for the cylinder head. They're ready to be torqued down. And again, if you're using brand new bolts, you have to, I mean, Subaru instructions are crazy. 30 foot-pounds, 70 foot-pounds, back it off, 7 foot-pounds, 22 foot-pounds, 44 foot-pounds, 80 to 90 degrees, 40 to 45 degrees, and then A and B by 40 to 45 degrees. I'm going to simplify that. Torque all the bolts down to 40, then 70, then the outer ones to 80, and the middle ones to 90. I think it'll be okay. Alright, here's the first pass. That's 40. And again, torque wrench, you gotta use the right adapters. And that's 40. Bolt C is up here, easy to get to. D is all the way in the corner. I'm going to have to probably take out one of these adapters, and then we'll just go through them all and put this thing back together. Should run like a top. Alright, so I put the Subaru back together last night. Pretty straightforward. Button everything up. Filled it with coolant. Oil is full. Let's see how it starts and runs. It should be smooth. Much better. Alright, we'll warm it up, make sure the coolant's topped off, and take it for a spin. Alright, running perfectly smooth. It's not a Volvo, but we'll see how it accelerates. Where's the turbo, Zia? There's no turbo.
No turbo. It's boring.
Yeah. runs perfect. So I think the customer will be happy. Still needs some work, brakes, wipers, alignment. The steering wheel isn't quite straight, but the engine runs very smoothly. So slightly bent valve. I don't know what caused it, how to explain it, but obviously it wasn't sealing, and leak down check did prove that. So thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.